back to another episode of the Decision Hour. I'm your host, Adam Bird. Folks, grab a pen, piece of paper. You're going to want to write these down today. I'm telling you, I've got a live, fun, and I'm excited about this interview that I have set up for you today. My guest today's background, Harvard, VC at Rustic Canyon, former public company COO. She founded BRAAV. If you go to BRAAV.com, that's BRAVV.co, .co, BRAVV.co. And she founded that after solving a real security crisis for a friend. Realized the industry needed modernizing. Boy, that's an understatement, isn't it? She also now has pivoted to challenge coins. Where are my veterans at? You guys know what we're talking about. Challenge coins as a powerful way to recognize and connect with veterans. But is it the standard? Is it the normal challenge coins that we're used to in the veteran community? Ooh, you're going to have to keep listening to find out. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, my new friend, Anna Redmond. Anna, how are you?
I am excellent. I'm so happy to be here.
You and I've talked offline. I love our conversations. I love your energy. Thank you for being here today. Before we dive into because I do want to hit on some of the security stuff, but then I really want to talk about this challenge code because it's not what I think most veterans in the military think of. And before we dive into that, I touched a little bit on your background, but who's Anna? What are you about? Let's dive into who you are as a person here a little bit. Give us a little background on you.
I love that. Thank you for asking. Such a joy to be here. Yeah, so I think I've had a couple of different iterations of me, as have most people. Started out very buttoned up out of Harvard into venture and the investment side. Did that for a number of years. And then I saw people building their own things. And I thought, gosh, I want that to be me. There's that joke of like, are you the person that wants to work 60 hours a week so that you don't have to work 40 for someone else? And that really hit the nail on the head. It was like, how can I make this maximally interesting, but also maximally difficult?
Right.
Um, so I dove in. I built a very different company than the one that I'm building now. It was on the thought leadership and PR side. Ran that for about 7 or 8 years alongside a wonderful co-founder. And then in 2020, we wound down a portion of our previous business, transitioned another. And also in 2020, I became really acutely aware of people feeling unsafe, right? It was such a pivotal year in so many ways. And I really, on the physical side, is
Yeah.
what I noticed. I had friends who were going through situations at work where they felt unsafe at home. I talked to a mom and my mom friend group who'd gotten held up. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is really bringing something into perspective. And I began to research the physical security industry because I'd felt like there was an opportunity on the business side to come in and build something that really spoke to that feeling on the client side.
Yeah.
And I spent, a couple years researching, really changed the kind of business network that I have. I went from literally knowing zero people who had served, zero police officers to now I consider myself very lucky to have many of them among my trusted friends and advisors. And that was really a paradigm shift for me, honestly,
Yeah.
um, and launched me into where I am today.
And where is that exactly?
Uh, it's launching this Challenge Coin network, which I'm really excited about. And also, I will say it's reading media with a little bit more of a critical eye. That wasn't something that I had before.
We're gonna get into that. I want to back up real quick with the security stuff, a little bit more on the security stuff. Because I feel like from what you were doing before and then spending a few years in it, that seems polar opposite
Totally.
of what you were doing. And did you have like any experience in the security field working with law enforcement or anything
Zero.
like that. So you went into this, I don't want to say blindsided because you did your due diligence and studied, looked up on it for a couple of years, you said, but like, how did, I guess my question is you saw something that was needed. How did you take that first step into that field afterwards? Like, how did you make contact and start establishing the trust with those individuals in that field?
Um, I have no ego, so I'm happy to share this, even though now it strikes me as embarrassing. I was really, really self-conscious. I will tell you, I felt really confident that I understood the consumer problem.
Okay.
Because that was a world that I knew. I really understood product market fit, and I thought that there was an opportunity.
Okay.
I did not understand security. And the first couple of meetings where really I, sort of like a connection of a connection of a connection, someone that was like 3 or 4 steps removed. Um, I asked my husband to go with me because I was so convinced that no one is going to want to talk to or listen to a lady that has had no security experience. And it's laughable at this point because when I narrate this story to people who are not in security, who know nothing about it, who also ask the same question that you did, which is like, but how did you even get into this? And I tell them that part, they don't know the punchline. They say, and then what happened? Did they only talk to your husband? And I'm like, you know what? Literally every single person was so kind.
Yeah.
They were so kind. They were so giving. They heard me out. They said, what you're saying makes so much sense. How can I help you? Here's my business card. Tell me who else I can connect you with. My network is your network. And it was so overwhelming. It was so eye-opening. And I came out of tech where, not to throw tech under the bus, tech and investing, but it's a lot of people who are keenly aware of what's good for them,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. And
Absolutely.
obviously, I know those people, a lot of them are great and they build a lot of amazing things. Um, but I think the level of service and giving and kindness that I found I was not prepared for. That was very new to me. And I share that every chance I get because it's very special.
Yeah. Well, there's that level of trust, as you said, is there. So I think it's the reason why I'm going to put you in the hot seat or bring it back to that, so to speak, is because
Please.
I think it's important to point out that you spent time researching, and then with your experience in knowing what people needed and seeing an industry that was missing something, you went in, and I think that's why you were able to kind of establish that trust, if you will, so quickly, is because they heard you out, they saw it, they realized it. Obviously, you got some pretty good sales skills, as well, which you need to be and you need to have. But more importantly, I think it was the trust that you created. I got a sales background, folks. You've heard me say it before. If you believe in what you have or what you're selling, the product sells itself. You really need to sell yourself and establish that trust with the future client or potential client moving forward. So, all right, okay, now let's get into, so thank you for sharing the security stuff. Now let's talk about pivoting into challenge coins. And my first question, as a veteran that knows a lot about challenge coins, you can see my little
Mhm.
down there, is it your typical physical challenge coin?
Absolutely not. It
What?
is.
Wait, what? It's not? What are you talking about? What do you mean?
So I'll take you a step back. When I first heard about challenge coins, uh, it was because the folks that I was meeting with were gifting them to me, right? I had a couple of private security coins that people gifted me. And the very first one, I had no idea what it was. Now, of course, I know that there are over 30 million Americans that hold some kind of challenge coin. And then there are like 270 million plus that have no idea this universe exists. And I held it in my palm and it felt so dense and packed with meaning. And I thought this is so cool. And then I started to research where the tradition came from, how people handed them out, who was authorized to give them out, and just was intrigued by the nuance. And the thing that stuck with me is that this is a tradition that's so old in a fundamental way. Like it's from when we sat around fires and passed objects to one another, right? Because the meaning and the storytelling and the history and the memory, it's all in your head. It's an oral tradition.
Yeah.
And the object is physical. And so just by my handing it to you, you need a human to explain to you where it comes from and what happened and what was in the air at the moment that someone gave it to you. And what really hit me is like, gosh, um, it would be great if we could preserve that information. How do we preserve it when God forbid people pass away or when someone just wants to follow the thread and find out. And so we launched the first ever challenge coin network that lets you do two things. For new issuers, you can create a digital twin on the blockchain of a new challenge coin that you issue. So when you hand someone the physical coin, it will also have a barcode attached to it, and you can scan the barcode and then they can pick up their digital twin, which will hold the meaning of the coin, the name of the issuer, the date that it was issued. If the issuer wants to attach a video, right, or some sort of multimedia, they can do that. And then for people that already have coins like you do, that are sitting back there that I can see,
Yeah.
you can upload those coins, and those will not be on the blockchain, but they'll be stored in our network. Those will not be verified because we don't have the issuer engaged, but you can upload all of them. We have a beautiful interface that has them turning in space and where you can input the date and the name and your memory.
How do I do that?
You go to allcoin.braav.co and you put yourself on the wait list. Although for you, I will take you right off the wait list personally.
Yeah, you hear that, guys? It's because I'm special. Damn right. That's what I'm talking about. Allcoin.braav.co.
Yep.
And I'm sorry. Did you say there's a wait list?
There's a wait list right now because we're onboarding a lot of folks and we are in beta. So we want to make sure that we can gate and onboard appropriately. But if you put in the notes that you're a listener of this show, we will work our hardest to get you off of that wait list as quickly as we possibly can.
Ooh, there you go. Listen, if you guys are listening to the show right now, first off, thank you. Second, you're online. So just open up another browser, allcoin.braav, that's BRAAV.co, and get on the wait list. They got a wait list because they got so many people that see how cool this product is. Here's what I love about this idea is taking a physical coin and I give it to you, right? And veterans and those in the military right now, even first responders, law enforcement, I think a lot of law enforcement and maybe some firefighters do this, but from a veteran side of things, we understand the importance of a challenge coin and what that means, right? It's always a special occasion when that happens. But here's the thing: putting this on and having one on the blockchain and having the story behind that coin on the meaning of it, right? Or maybe why you got it. And God forbid something happens to you. There's still a trail for me, I was a single parent for 15 years. So God forbid if something happens to me, I don't have my son doesn't understand what all of these coins. I mean, he gets the challenge because he's military himself now, but like he doesn't understand. Well, this coin came from this, or this came from that. Like now, you have a place where you can catalog your coins, and more importantly, if you're given a coin to somebody, you could say, "Hey, I gave this coin to Anna Redmond. I gave this coin to Adam Bird. I gave this coin to John Doe or whatever," and you can track all of that where who you're giving those coins to, and that person can log in and say, "Hey, this is what I got it for, and this is the meaning of it." How cool is that?
And I'll add one more thing. You can go view, if they share them publicly, your friends' challenge coins. We've already had people say, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know you had that coin. I have this coin," because they're sharing it.
Oh,
If you
that's
click on the coin forum,
really
you can see the names of the people that hold specific coins. And so you could discover, you could reconnect with someone that you served with a long time ago. You could discover that someone you know was in, the same unit, but whatever, 5 years apart. There are all sorts of stories and human connection that you can unlock.
how cool is that? That's such a cool idea because I like I'm always fascinated by seeing like going to other veterans houses or whatnot, and you seeing the coins that they have, and a lot of the times they're like, "Ah, I don't remember why I got that one. It was from I was this unit here, or I did something overseas, or whatever the case may be, whatever. But now there's a place where you can go check it out. And then other
Yeah,
people can see that. Like, how cool is that? I want to click on that and be like, I want that coin. Well, you can't get it. You got to do this, and this is how I got it, kind of a thing, right?
absolutely. And if you are thinking of issuing a new coin, I strongly, strongly encourage you to add the digital twin with us. And you can do that in one of two ways. You can have your challenge coin, if you have a manufacturer that you love, go use them, just let us know, and then we'll create the twin. Or we do have manufacturing partners, so we can handle the whole thing with you from start to finish.
Say that again.
Sure. So basically, two pathways. Adam, you are making a coin. The coin says only for the coolest people in the world, gifted by you, right? Awarded by you. And you're like, how do I get this amazing coin? If you've minted a coin before and you have, a minter that you love, you can just go directly to them, mint your coin, and then tell us you want a digital twin, and
Yeah.
we'll make it. Or if you're like, that sounds like a ton of work, Anna, you guys do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Me the physical coin and the digital twin, take the physical coin and ship it out to one of your manufacturing partners and just give it to me in a package with a bow on top and a bottle of alcohol for a extra thank you. I'm seeing the bottles in the background. What's your favorite, by the way? I think I know what I'm getting my husband for his next dinner. Will you please send me the link so that I can put in my credit card?
I want to get back to this coin and you. This is such a badass idea, and I love the fact that and those that are listening, if you thought about you know having a challenge coin, and I got to tell you because I've recently had I met Anna beforehand, I would have gone through her, so I know where my next order is going to be coming from. Is
Love it.
because I love the fact that it's kind of a all in one place that you have this set up, right? So it's like and I know we talked offline. Like I can take what I have now, send you the artwork, which I know I need to do. Sorry, and then you can digitize it and put it in on the blockchain. My next
Hmm.
my next order, I send you the artwork, or you can help me design it or what have you, and you work with me there, and then it's already done. Like I don't have to worry about it. I just sit and wait for the order to get the physical ones, and it's so convenient um, that way. And I love the idea that okay, I'm giving this coin here to let's say my son Chris or one of his fellow lieutenants for whatever reason, right? And I can type that in and why, and I'm assuming when I do that, I can give them that link then, right? And they can see why they're getting it and so forth, right? So they have a physical and they have the digital copy of it. That's such a cool idea, and I really it's. Let me ask you this: what prompted you to do that? Did you just like you wake up one morning and you're like, I got a great idea. Like this is what I'm gonna do.
Um, Kind of like that. I think that I was in a unique position. I will say that most people who are in the blockchain universe, who understand blockchain, understand how it works to kind of prove provenance, they're innovating in different communities. They're innovating in art. They're innovating in like like super expensive objects. Like there are people that are putting like Louis Vuitton purses on the blockchain and creating all these links and ways to do that. Most of them do not know that challenge coins exist, right? And so because I came out of the kind of tech ecosystem, I'm not a blockchain expert by any means, but I was very well versed in that tech and what it does and how it functions. And then when I found out about blockchain, it was really like I was in that perfect middle spot. Sorry, when I found out about challenge coins, I was in that perfect middle spot to put two things together. And as I explained it to people that were in crypto, they kind of said, "Man, this is what we were all trying to do, except with things that don't matter because we didn't know that something like challenge coins existed." And then when I thought about challenge coins and just receiving them, it was just that experience of like, gosh, how do I preserve all of the storytelling? Like one of my advisors is an active duty Navy SEAL. He's in charge of special warfare recruiting. And he was kind enough to create this amazing experience where he let me and my husband and my two kids meet him down in San Diego, and he showed us the Navy SEAL course. And he let us run it. My husband actually did kind of an awesome job. I think I did like one thing. My kids did two. So I'm what is it? Were there like 15 obstacles? I'm like 1/15 of a Navy SEAL. I've got it down. Um, and like as we left that day and drove back to LA, I was like, man, I want to capture the memory of this moment
Yeah.
of things that he shared about serving.
It's such an important thing that you just said right there, capturing that moment, right? Because we live in such a technological age now with AI and now blockchain and everything else. Is like, how do you capture these moments? Because it's not like having the physical stuff can easily get lost, right? But now you have something that's stored where you can always go back to. And would it be, what am I trying to say? It's almost like you're preserving history.
Yeah,
Is that safe to say?
absolutely. No, we think about it as preserving the memory and really highlighting valor and heroism.
Right. And how many, now this could be for a lot. This opens the door for so many others that stories may not have been told, for whatever reason, or maybe they just didn't have the resources. But now, really, what you've created is a resource for their memories to always be remembered, to be there for their stories to be told. You know, we say that a person uh, dies when somebody stops saying their name,
Yeah.
and I'm going to go out on a limb and say what you've created here, person never really dies, because
Yeah.
that memory of them is always there now.
100%. And you'll see when you log onto our platform that one of the innovative things we've added is the chain of transfer. And so if you make a challenge coin and you gift it to, someone amazing, and then they pass it on to a child or someone they work with, and that person regifts it, you can actually see that on the blockchain. And that's uh,
So,
perfect provenance.
so
You
like a
can't.
like a track record,
Absolutely. And that's set in stone. That can't be hacked or erased or rewritten.
guys. I don't even know what to say right now, because it's like you guys are listening to this, and I'm wondering how many of you have not already joined the wait list. Allcoin.braav,
Mhm.
BRAAV.co. Get on the wait list. This is such a cool opportunity. And if you're a veteran or active duty right now, or one of our great first responders in this country, and whether you currently have coins now, or you are, maybe you're a small business owner and this is something like, oh, this is a cool idea, I want to give to my clients as a gift or something like that. This is a great opportunity to jump on this, like right now. Like, I don't understand what people are waiting for. and it's such a special thing. Like from the military side of it, when we receive a coin, it's really cool because it means you did something special, right? As a business owner, handing out a coin is because you see something special in someone, or they've done something that deserves that recognition. I couldn't tell you half the coins that I have where I got them from. There's probably 3 or 4, and one of them's got a 1 star on it, and that one I definitely remember
Wow.
where I got it from, because that was one of those, like, that's a star. I know where, you know.
Can I ask you for that story? I love all of the challenge coin
So
stories.
it wasn't any. It was kind of funny. It was in the National Guard at the time. We were in Fort Irwin, California, doing some training for like a month. It was our annual training, and we went to Fort Irwin. And I remember I was pissed off because I was like, we didn't go anywhere cool. We went to the middle of nowhere Mojave Desert, right? And we were. It was involved some training, and all I remember is I would volunteer for a lot of things, and one they had this compound that we were on. Well, it's all training, so it's all mock stuff. But we had a mock invasion and whatnot, and I was an E4 at the time, and I was telling an E6 or something at the time. I was like, "Hey, we need to do this, this, and this," and everybody was like, "Why is this E4 bossing me around?" And it was like, "Hey, because these guys are attacking, or they're going to attack." It's like, blah 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 blah. So anyway, fast forward, they did.
Mhm.
We stopped it, uh, and the next day, the sergeant major and our state, he was the adjutant general. He was a 1 star. Um, Bill Maxon, never forget that. He came out, and they called me on the specialist bird. Can you front center? And I was like, oh man, like, what did I say or do? Because that was always my first reaction. If that gives you any indication how I was in my early 20s. And General Maxon came up to me and stuck his hand out, and I was like, I saluted him first, and I was like, he stuck his hand out to shake my hand, and he had this coin, and he's like, I hear you doing a fantastic job out here, and I heard what you did
Wow.
on the invasion. You protected, the base, blah blah. Even though it was a mock-up, I was like, okay, whatever. But I was like, oh, this is cool. Like the AG, and he did it in front of the company, so like everybody saw that it happened, and I was like, okay, that was kind of cool. So that was actually for the longest
That's
time.
amazing.
That was the one coin. In fact, I carry it in my briefcase. So anytime I'm traveling, that's the one coin. That's one coin that I carry with me. The next one will be my own coin that I've created once I get it, and then the next one after that will be the one that I create with you guys.
Oh, I
So
love it.
it's
What a
I
fabulous
love it.
story.
Yeah, it's
How did you protect your team from the invasion? What did you do?
I honestly, I don't remember. It was so long ago. That was in 2000 and 2001. So it was that I'm at least that old, and much older. So it's just it was one of those things where it's like I didn't think much of it because it was training or whatnot, but the fact that I got recognized, and being in my younger 20s at the time, still, it was having a 1 star come up to you. I mean, I tried to stay away from officers as much as I possibly could, at the time, but then having a 1 star give you a coin was that was a special moment. I was fortunate to have a lot of special moments. That was really the only time where I actually got coined in uniform out in the field
Hmm.
for something. So that's why I think it was so special there. So
Thank
yeah.
you for sharing that. That's a fabulous, fabulous
And
story.
I think I could load that up there, and then, like, if
Yeah.
100 years from now, people are going through this. Oh, what's this? And they could see, like, oh, this guy did blah 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 blah. Like, I think that's so cool that you guys are preserving,
Hmm.
that, and it's like the new history books, if you will, kind
Yeah.
of. That's really what it kind of is, now that I think about it, because it's like, again, stories that neither one of us may have ever heard
Yeah.
until you created what you did.
And
Allcoinbraav.co, allcoin.braav.co. Get on the wait list, folks. Seriously.
the other thing that I love that makes me so happy is how positive these stories are.
Yeah.
We're so inundated, I think, by right, like bad news sells. And this is just it makes me really happy to hear the stories. I think challenge coins are humans at their best.
Oh, absolutely. I 100. I think being a media owner, which is my day to day, we are bombarded with negativity in the uh, propaganda machine as we know as mainstream media. I started a media company, our parent company, Heroes Media Group. I started because I wanted to change the narrative of how media was delivered and consumed. I'm not creating any different technology. I'm taking everything that's out there, but I've decided to put a different twist on it. I've had I've had a half a dozen VCs and investors and whatnot approach me, offering me hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm talking life changing money. And they've all said, you need to change how you're doing business because
Mm.
positivity isn't sexy. It doesn't sell.
Yeah.
And I kindly shared my thoughts with them that I won't repeat, but I had a few choice words for those people.
Mm.
And I said, that's your opinion. I said, but I'm crazy enough to think that I can change the world because I know in my 48 years in life that we didn't get to where we are in the world today overnight. This has been a process.
Mhm.
So I would have to be ignorant to think, even after a decade of doing this, I'm just getting started. I'm not going anywhere unless God calls me home for whatever reason, which I hope not anytime soon. But it's like one of those things where it's like, I'm in this for the long haul. So I think in the next 10, 15 years, if we can start seeing a glimmer of hope and people are being more positive, they're going to look at the core of that and see Adam Bird, Heroes Media Group, and people and companies that have worked with us on that.
Adam, I love that. I'm glad that you're saying no to changing your vision.
People think I'm crazy. I just tell them I'm too stubborn. Right? That's just I'm too stubborn at my age to, and that's what it is. I think it takes vision, right? You clearly had a vision and you saw something and you went out and it's not the first time this isn't your first go at a business.
Yeah.
So the fact that I would say a serial entrepreneur that doesn't take shit from anybody and it's just like you see a vision and you're just like, I'm kicking down this door. You know what? I'm gonna make the door and then kick it down and then start your own way with it, right? But that's what I see. And what you've created is something truly, truly special. Um allcoin.braav.co. That's BRAAV.co. Guys, we're gonna have all of these links in the show notes below, and they're gonna be spelled out right because I've copied and pasted what she's given me, so I'm gonna make sure they're correct now. You can reach Anna on LinkedIn, and we're gonna have that link in the show notes below as well. Anna, I got another question. We're coming up on time, and I got another question I want to ask you though.
Please.
Show's called The Decision Hour, and we have to make decisions every single day. Name a time in your life where your feet were on the line and you had to make that decision. What was it, and what was the atmosphere like?
Oh man, that's a great question. Um, you know, I think I have to come back to the founding story of starting BRAAV because I really, we had effectively wound down the portion of the previous business that I was running, that I was sort of managing in my day to day. And there was this moment of, do I want to go back and just get a job and just be a normal person with a job? Um, and diving into physical security felt like such a wildly different thing. I live in Santa Monica, California, so not only is security so different than what I was doing previously, but it wasn't the environment that I was in, it wasn't the people that I was hanging out with. Um, and I really had this thought of, if you feel a compulsion, something that just that little voice that says, I think you need to explore this. I think that there's really something here. Sometimes you run with it. None of us are getting any younger. You don't want to be looking back 20 years from now thinking, man, I should have tried that wild sounding business idea. And when I dove in at first, I was so hesitant to talk about what I was building because it was so different. That's not how people knew me, right? They thought of me as a person who had built a totally different business, or they thought of me as a mom. Um, and it took time. But when I look back on that decision, it just I sort of dove in head first, and I've never looked back.
Sounds like you made the right decision.
I think so.
Well, I would, if you think, I would say no, so because if
I do know so.
hadn't you done that, we wouldn't be talking, and you probably would not have created, or you wouldn't have created the challenge coins, and you wouldn't be where you're at today.
Yep.
So thank you for making that decision.
Thank you. It's been such a pleasure to talk about it.
I love it. Anna Redmond, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have all of her contact information in the show notes below. Again, allcoin.braav.co, BRAAV.co. Get on the wait list. Also, make sure you check out our parent company's Heroes Media Group. Check out all the great podcast shows that we have over there and the new articles and stuff that are coming out. If you're a podcaster, go check them out. Reach out to them. Love to have you on that network there. That's all the time that we have today, folks. Until next time, you've been listening to The Decision Hour.